Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh. Shem Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakodash. Double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. All right. Salutations to the other Akim out there on the highways and byways across the four corners, pushing this truth, all honest, and sincerity. This is Nama with the DC camp. And as you can see, well, lo and behold, this is from CNN. I'm in DC, of course, and just down the road, hour and a half or so, you have Richmond County, Virginia. It says Native American tribe gets its land back after being displaced nearly 400 years ago. Now, as we know with the history, of course, this is came out earlier this month. You got to ask why, the timing of this, why, all right? And being that, you know, we research a lot, we know the wickedness of these so-called white people, and I say so-called because they are not white, they are red, all right? And they are descendants of Jacob's brother Esau, Salakia. It's the devil, all right? They are in the nation of Edom. Very name means red. All right. So it says here the Rappahannock. Well, let's see. Fawns Cliff. I read the end cap here. The ancestral home of the Rappahannock tribe hang over the shoreline of the Rappahannock River in Richmond County, Virginia. All right. The Rappahannock tribe, and this goes all the way back to John Smith, which is going to tell you early 1600s. All right. It says the Rappahannock tribe, a native tribe in Virginia, and you have to know, for those who don't, these are Israelites. These are those northern kingdom, or part of those northern kingdom tribes that came over here circa 700 BC. All right. When King Ahasuerus, all right, and of course that was the Most High's doing it because they were wicked. They were involved in all kinds of idolatry in the land. And when you read 2 Kings 17th chapter, it goes all into that. This is the beginnings of how they came to be over here on this side of the world. All right. And then you go into the Apocrypha in 2nd Ezra's 13th chapter and start around the 40th verse. All right. They didn't come across no Bering Strait or any BS like that. No. And this is well known. When Columbus was to sail over here, he wasn't looking for the Great Khan or anything like that. Columbus read Ezra. He had copies of it with him. He had Hebrew translators, you idiots. All right. Anyway, 5 of them, if I remember correctly, 5 Hebrew interpreters. All right. It says Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland, who is not, I repeat, who is not Native American. Again, they play these games, talking about the mother and all this. No, you are, and let's settle this right now. You are, your lineage, your pedigree goes through your father, all right? Let's see. I'm going to show you. This is how these imposter Jews, these little hats, is how they have fooled the people for so long, because they're going with that mother's side. No, that's straight up. And that's another clue as to who you're dealing with, because anything pertaining to the Holy Scriptures, they do the opposite. All right, because that's how they were created. They do the exact opposite. They were created to be the wicked. Look at the spirit of this world. It takes on after their spirit. All right. It's demonic. It's crooked. All right. Anyway, back to this woman here. Everybody said, oh, it's the first Native American cabinet secretary, cabinet official. Wow. Nope. Let's see. Fooled you again. All right. She was born in Winslow, Arizona. All right. Here she is. Now, by all accounts, you look at her. Yeah, you would think, By her features, but no. You gotta look a little deeper. This is how so many people get fooled because they look at color, uh, and that's just the surface. Anyway, let's go on down. Early life and education. All right, here we go. I guess it's Holland. It's got two A's. That's the way I pronounce it. And it lets you know if you're looking at the name and you associate it with a region in the world. You begin to catch on. It says was born in Winslow, Arizona. She is an enrolled member of the Laguna Pueblo. The Pueblo people have lived on a land that is now the state of New Mexico. Before my battery runs out, just 1 second. All right. That is now the state of New Mexico since the 1200s, and Holland identifies herself as a 35th generation New Mexican. Her mother, Mary Toya, a Native American woman, served in the United States Navy. Her father, Major John David Dutch Holland, a Norwegian Minnesotan, was an officer in the United States Marine Corps and recipient of the Silver Star for his actions in Vietnam. That's all we need to know. So this is an Edomite that just has so-called Native American features. And this is how these devils move about amongst the nations. So you see now, when Great Millstone has always said, you people, and I'm talking about mostly Edomites, so-called white people, complain about, well, the Native Americans, they own all the casinos. No. You got to look at and study the Dawes Act and thereby subsequent Dawes rolls and what these slick crooked motherfuckers did. All right, $5 Indian, you get into all that. See, these motherfuckers, when you go into talk about deception and all that, these motherfuckers are masters at it, because that's one of their gifts slash blessings, besides the sword. This is what they do. This is how they manage to keep in power throughout. I personally have gone as far as said as the Saudi royal family are Edomites. I do strongly believe that. Because this is how they do. They intermarry, and then before long, a few generations later, they're on top. All right, these slick ass devils. But enough of that. Let's go back here. I just wanted to make sure you understood what I was trying to relate to you, because people say, "Oh, you talking about affirmative action and all this shit?" No. Make no mistake. These so-called white people own these so-called casinos. They got caught a few times. I know several years ago an article came out, because you got to understand too that the so-called white woman is considered a minority. So when it comes to some of these contracts, all right, guess who slides right up in there. There you go. Anyway, back to the story here. All right, we've already proved Secretary of Interior here is not Native American. All right, she's a poser. We have worked for many years to restore this sacred place to the tribe. All right, it says, with eagles being prayer messengers, this area where they gather has always been a place of natural, cultural, and spiritual importance. Fawn's Cliff is the ancestral home of the tribe, located on the eastern side of the Rappahannock River in Virginia. The area, located inside the Rappahannock River Valley National Wildlife Refuge, will be publicly accessible and placed in trust with the Bureau of Indian Affairs. The tribe plans to educate the public about their history by constructing a replica 16th century village and expand their Return to the River program, which trains tribal youth in traditional river knowledge and practices. You know, and all this, they keep talking about critical race theory and all that, all this shit that this devil has done is coming back on him. I hope you realize that. All right. He can't take it. He doesn't want to be forced to confront it. So they're coming up with all these laws to protect so-called white kids' psyche when they weren't worried about anybody else's psyche for the last few hundred years. All right, so fuck these people, you know. They gots to go. And as I say that, let me get this scripture here. Hold on. Because this is what it's come to. This is Job 15th chapter. Let's see where I'm going to start. Let's see. What is man that he should trust his saints? Should say how much? Let's see. I start at 20. This is Job 15 and 20. It says, the wicked man travaileth with pain all his days, and the number of years is hidden to the oppressor. All right. Travail, let's just think he trembles. All right. In the back of his mind, he knows he's done all this wickedness. All right. That's why he's motivated to build all these terrible weapons. All right. It says, think of a word. Let's see. What would that word be to describe an individual like this? Let's go. Let's say. I know a lot of you have used it in the past. What? Paranoia. Let's see what it says. An unrealistic distrust of others or a feeling of being persecuted. Extreme degrees may be a sign of mental illness. Really? All right. Let's go. Let's see. Paranoia is the feeling that you're being threatened in some way, such as people watching you or acting against you, even though there's no proof that it's true. Oh, but in this case it is. Because, see, your past sins are catching up with you. This is the whole point. All right? It's not a result of you just thinking, all right? No. You got to go to Isaiah 14th chapter. All right? You're being brought down. All right? Down by the pit. Nobody likes you anymore. You enjoyed demigod status for so long. You went throughout the world putting on this act as if you're so pious and righteous. You could do no wrong, and people ate it up to the point where the people that you were really putting foot to ass to, namely us, all right, they look down on us now, you lazy motherfuckers, you know. But now that they're getting some of what you gave us, yeah. So it's not like you don't have a reason to be now. But see, this is your coming down to, all right, you being pulled out of the power seat. Doesn't feel too good, does it? But see, you actually did something for this to happen. All right. So now that everybody's confronting you on the bullshit that you've done for so long, all right, you're experiencing anxiety and all this other shit, you know, hence the opioids and all these other drugs, you know, and this is your kingdom, and you're not doing so well, even though you've resorted to stacking the deck for so long, and still you fall behind in your own system. That's sad. That's pitiful. Anyway, continuing on, we've established that he's a paranoid motherfucker now. 21, a dreadful sound is in his ears. In prosperity, the destroyer shall come upon him. He hears those footsteps. He's looking around, even when there's no one there. All right? But now these demons are coming up on you, and this is the Most High, ultimately. All right? And you're forced to confront what you've done in the past. It says, 22, he believeth not that he shall return out of darkness, and he is waited for of the sword. Oh, it's coming. Oh, yes. And there's nothing you can do about it. 23, he wandereth abroad for bread, saying, where is it? And this famine is coming, it's at the doorstep. Alright, knocking at the door. He knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand. Going back to that paranoia. But is it paranoia if it's true? 24, trouble and anguish shall make him afraid, which he is. Damn, things just ain't what they used to be. I want to go back to 1950s, right after the Second World War in Korea, you know, preferably before Vietnam. But really, anything is better than now. Yeah. But nope, can't do that. 24, it says, trouble and anguish shall make him afraid. They shall prevail against him as a king ready to the battle. 25, for he stretcheth out his hand against the Most High and strengtheneth himself against the Almighty. He really thinks he's got a chance. He thinks he can upset prophecy and turn things around in his favor. But what was it said in Ezekiel 28th chapter? You think you're a God? You're not a God, you're a man. And he's going to remind you. Of course, at that, you're a base man. Alright, for he stretcheth out his hand against the Most High and strengthened himself against the Almighty. All these weird policies and to enable degenerates, completely contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments that he all this time has proclaimed to be about. I'm talking about going around the world since the days of Columbus, spreading the so-called gospel, his gospel anyway. And as it turns out, it was just a ploy. That was a, you know, the expression, beware of Greeks bearing gifts. That's exactly what it was. That was just a way to get in the door, for him to get in the door. Wow. He runneth upon him, even on his neck, upon the thick bosses of his bucklers. 27, because he covereth his face with his fatness. You got to remember, part of that blessing was he would enjoy the fatness of the earth, all the choice things, which includes lands, riches. And how would he go about them, getting them? The sword, which is part of his blessing. Also, his ability to deceive. All right, and maketh collops of fat on his flanks. Wow. So he did a number on Gad. He did a number on Southern Kingdom, so-called Negroes. Benjamin, so-called Haitians, Levites, the Southern Kingdom. He did a number on all of us. But now, hey, it's time to pay up. He don't want to do it. He's going to go kicking and screaming. I remember a dream my mother told me when I was growing up. This had to be late 70s or thereabouts. And she remembered, she said it was the Lord coming back. And, you know, all this chaos going on, you know, all the fire, all the blood, smoke, everybody in a panic. And she remembers seeing this old white man off in the distance, watching. And then he turns around and starts running, trying to get away. And it was years later when I finally understood it, you know. And this devil this Edomite, he thinks he's got a chance in fighting the Most High when he comes back, or the Lord, Yahweh Shai, once he gets that word. No, it says in 1 hour. All right. Like, but it's going to be fun to see. It says, we look forward to drawing upon tribal expertise and indigenous knowledge in helping manage the area's wildlife and habitat. This historic reacquisition underscores how tribes, private landowners, and other stakeholders all play a central role in this administration's work to ensure our conservation efforts are locally led and support communities' health and well-being. The Cliffs played a central part in the history of the tribe. In 1608, the tribe first encountered and defended their homeland against English settler Captain John Smith. They romanticized the shit out of that story. But the actual event and account is so sad, how they raped that girl Pocahontas and, forced her to do what she did. This wasn't no love story. Anyway, it says Captain John Smith, who played an important role in the first permanent English settlement in America at Jamestown, Virginia. In the 1660s, the tribe began to be forcefully displaced from their homeland on the Rappahannock River by the English, according to the Chesapeake Conservancy. In addition to their cultural and historical importance to the tribe, the Cliffs are also crucial to wildlife. The site is home to one of the largest nesting populations of bald eagles, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to skip on over that. It says the tribe's reacquisition of its land was made possible by the family of William Dodge Ankle, who provided the funds necessary for the Chesapeake Conservancy to purchase the 465 acres and donate the fee title to the Rabbican tribe. And this all boils down. Let's see how much I got left here. I don't want to, just a little bit. Let me go ahead and finish it off. It says the acquisition follows a growing movement of indigenous people fighting to reclaim their land. Hey, all I'm going to say, you're putting your trust in the wrong thing here. I mean, you got to question why is this happening now. It says in 2019, the Wyote tribe, I guess that's how you say it, successfully reclaimed their ancestral homeland of Duluot Island on the northern coast of California after over a century of displacement. And earlier this year, more than 500 acres of California forest were returned to a group of Native American tribes. Also, a Jake family in California, what's the beach's name? They got back land that was forcefully taken from them in the 1920s. All right, just to put that out there. So let's get scripture on that because, hey, like I said, don't believe the hype. All right, he's got a reason for doing this. This is Job 20. All right, I'm gonna go straight down to the point. Let's see. This is verse 10, Job 20 and 10. His children, we're talking about the ancestors, their descendants of these people that did these things initially after coming over here. All right, their children and their children and their children and so forth and so on. His children shall seek to please the poor, the people that they fucked over. Namely, it's talking about we Israelites. All right, because the Native Americans, from the Arctic Circle on down to the tip of South America there, the southern tip, Argentina, all right, those original occupants there are all Israelites. He says his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. Really? His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. All right, and this ties in with, we always say, Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy. When you read on further down, oh man, if you can't figure out who that's talking about, hey, this is what it's talking about right here. It says, yet his meat is in his bowels is turned, it is the gall of asp within him, nothing but poison. All right. 15, he hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Remember, vomiting is a violent act. So when the word comes, hey, Zephaniah 3 and 8, You know, that's a commandment. The Lord says, wait ye upon me. All right. So all that stuff that they've acquired, all the riches, all right, they'll have to vomit it up. All right. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. All right. It says, he shall suck the poison of asp, the viper's tongue shall slay him. All right. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. All right. Because, 19, because he hath oppressed and forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he buildeth not, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. Going back to that paranoia, he shall not save of that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. Here's the point. In the fullness of his sufficiency, when he thinks he's got everything on lock, he shall be in straits, degrees of difficulty. Every hand of the wicked, the little man, the small man, the worker, the people he's defrauded. Think James 5th chapter. All right. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. 23, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. 24 goes into what the dream that my mother had decades ago. It says, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. That iron weapon is those nuclear missiles. All right, that several prophets saw. And it got to the point where they got physically sick when they saw the vision that described what's coming upon this place. Hey, so with that, I hope whoever reviews this, of course, is edified. And hey, remember, time is short. Stay prayed up. Pray for the brethren. All right, throughout the four corners, the brethren in your respective camps. You know, the brotherhood. You know, and with that, Shalom.